My name's Councillor Keith Kandaka. I'm just about to take you through the Green Party ideas for the 2016-17 Nuneaton and Bedworth Borough Council budget. Our budget will focus on four main areas. Firstly, economic development and planning policy. Secondly, on parking charges and sustainable transport. Thirdly, on refocusing the Civic Hall to be more cost effective and actually provide a better service to the community. And fourthly, on reducing wasteful expenditure. Firstly, economic development and planning policy. The Borough Council has been responsible for much of the massive underperformance of our borough's economy. The Council has been working on its local plan for an incredible 10 years, and what it has produced so far is worse than not having a plan. I estimate around £4 million has been wasted on planning policy over that time, and the waste of the last 6 years has been down to the Labour Cabinet's inability to produce a fair plan or admit they cannot deliver one. The Borough Council has been destroying local businesses with things like its over-bureaucratic local business rate discount scheme, with high parking charges in the town centre, and with minimal support for local businesses. Making our award-winning town centre manager redundant was just madness. The situation cannot simply be fixed with this budget resolution, but we do need to move to a more focused management at the Council's officer level. I propose we have a Director of Regeneration who will be responsible just for economic development and for planning policy. This post will replace the existing post of Head of Planning Policy and the Director's post for Regeneration and Public Protection. I want the new Director for Regeneration to work on a recovery plan for the borough as quickly as possible. I hope as soon as the council is under new leadership we can attract regeneration projects and new small businesses. We will need a team to rebuild the borough, but it has to be done properly. I would be looking at how we can create an economic development post and a new town centre management position, and how we get these budgets. I would look possibly at forming a business improvement district to get this work ongoing. There are issues with business improvement districts, but they have also been very successful at stimulating new growth and regeneration. The business improvement districts seem to be doing a marvellous job in places like Hinckley, where they're getting things like town centre Wi-Fi and just a general revitalisation of their town. Parking and sustainable transport. The first step for a more sustainable borough is to have a better local economy, so that less people decide to travel elsewhere for work, to shop, for enjoyment or to learn. We have around 78,000 people of working age in the borough, but only around 27,000 full-time jobs and 15,000 part-time jobs. High parking charges in our town centres have wiped out much of our town centre employment. Not only do we have empty shops, but we also have loads of town centre offices empty. Including that, the council charges around £2.5 million for car parking, on which it makes an excess of around £400,000. The legality of this excess is already questionable. Hiking parking charges as proposed by the Labour Group will not raise the extra £223,000 in profits. In fact, it may even lead to a reduction in income. The more the council takes from people visiting our borough, the less people who will visit. It is also worth noting that a few people have little regard to how much they pay for parking. We need to be smart about parking charges to raise the income we need for our town centres while providing cheaper options for those who have to be more careful with their spending. Charges for the same 3 hours parking in Paul Bank Street, Harefield Road and Rope Walk are the same, and this is not good economics. Both Paul Bank Street and Harefield Road take less than 90 pence per space per day, while the prime car parks take around £3 for every space each day, and the ridiculous pricing at the Pingles produces an income of just 4 pence per space per day, and the leisure centres actually issue 250,000 tickets per year, almost all of them, 99% free. I propose reducing the 2 hour and above parking charges at Harefield Road by 20%. making a charge for 2 hours of £1.20, and the all-day charge would then be just £2.70. I would also propose making parking in Abbey Street and Church Street car parks free after 4 p.m. And I'd encourage those people who work in town but don't actually need to park in the town centre to park at places like Poolbank Street and the Pingles at 20 pence per hour. Effectively a park and walk system that would free up a few dozen spaces in the town centres. Permanent market traders are vital to our town centres, and I'd like to provide them with free and discounted market day parking tickets. I would also like to reduce the validity of the £110,000 worth of free staff and councillors parking passes to improve the availability of spaces in the most popular car parks. Smarter car parking prices should better match the supply and demand at each car park and provide better options for those on limited budgets. It will still provide a good income for the council. With the closure of the co-op and smarter pricing, we can actually look at releasing one of the very small car parks for office or housing developments. Sustainable transport does not mean making everyone walk or cycle, but does require us to make it easier for those who want to. We need plans to incorporate world-class walking and cycling networks into the borough. Yet again, I'm proposing zero bus station fees for the bus operators after 6 p.m. in the evening and any time on Sundays. And we need to make a significant step towards regulating rip-off bus fares in the borough, and also add express bus services to places like the University of Warwick and Coventry City Centre. We also have great opportunities for local new rail services. At the County Council we're fighting to get Stockingford Station reopened. One day this could lead to local train services from Stockingford across to Birmingham, across to Hinckley, down to Coventry and all the way out to Leicester. Refocusing the Civic Hall. The budget for the bed of Civic Hall was £650,000 in 2015-16 and it was expected to overspend by another £32,000. The Civic Hall is greatly valued by those who use it regularly, but is unreasonably expensive to the council taxpayer. I strongly believe in supporting the arts and culture in the borough, but it has to be done efficiently. Closing the bistro could save us £40,000 a year, but I'd prefer to find someone who would operate it at around zero net cost. Either way, there are big savings to be made, as long as they keep selling ice creams, which are one of the big profit items. Today, almost every entertainment venue takes the bulk of their bookings via the internet. The Civic Hall, however, directs most of its bookings via its manual booking office, even with online adverts. Significant savings can be made by pushing online bookings, as well as getting an increase in the number of seats sold. The Civic Hall currently costs every household in the borough around £13 a year. I propose the council offers 2-for-1 tickets for the borough's residents for those council productions on nights we expect to have loads of empty seats. I would also like it to be far cheaper for charities and community groups to hire the Civic Hall when it would otherwise be idle. I know this sometimes happens, but I would like a formal arrangement. 4 nights per year at a special rate of £600. Reducing wasteful expenditure. This council has to reduce expenditure significantly due to reduced government grants. We need far more transparency over the council spend our money and tighter control of budgets, especially at the Civic Hall and in planning policy. Most members of the public will be shocked at the hiring of the Civic driver to attend the carol service at the United Reformed Church opposite the council house. The council is far too badly run to afford the luxury of a Civic Jag and driver when it is making key staff redundant. Each year my group has proposed changing the Civic car for something cheaper and more sustainable. Now is the time to end the Civic car. There will be a budget still retained of around £4,000 in the morality for travel, but we need to be less wasteful. We also need to be less wasteful on things like the mayor making with all its flowers and the duplication of events in Nuneaton and Bedworth. We need to stop the council also wasting so much electricity. The council has done some good work on energy efficiency, but there's so much more to do. It seems we spend £10,000 a year on electricity for powering the Christmas lights 24 hours a day. This could easily be cut 20 to 30% with things like time switches. Councillors also need to take their share of belt tightening. Some of the special responsibility allowances are far too high at a time when staff are losing their jobs. I am proposing a 20% reduction in the special responsibility allowances and scrapping £12,500 worth of IT and phone allowances for councillors. There are many more efficiency savings I would like to introduce. Some examples are reducing the In Touch publication to once a year, charging for new wheelie bins, especially for developers who are selling houses for £100,000, £200,000, £500,000, but the council picks up the tab for providing the wheelie bin. Increasing the targeting of litter fines. We fine 1 or 2 people a year at the moment for littering. We should be collecting thousands in littering fines and actually trying to solve the littering problem. Fuel prices are record lows. We need to actually reduce the vast amount of money spent on staff mileage, reduce the rate by 5p a mile. We need to stop a lot of these silly Civic gifts, the pens with names on and things. It costs a lot of money, and we need to reduce the amount of agency staff and consultancy the council uses. Thanks for watching this video. I'm passionate that we need a more open budget process. It's our money the council spends. I'm happy to debate with anyone about my ideas, your ideas, so that in future we can get better budgets. And I'm furious about the way the council is run and the way the Labour administration won't release their budget till 4 o'clock on Wednesday and it'll be voted on 2 hours later. This is no way to have a sensible debate about how the council spends millions of pounds.